Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of At Home. The rules are simple. You ask me a question and I will give you my thoughts. Feel free to respond to the questions too, that's part of the fun. And last, if you don't really care to hear me talk, I have some pleasant gameplay you can watch on mute. The first question comes from Manny Vargas, who says, I was curious what you thought of this being a potential variant to the Martini Henry, and the video he links to is the Royal Armory's Martini Speed Loader, which you may have seen on the Discord or subreddit. So if you haven't seen that video, the short version is the Martini Henry was quickly becoming obsolete with the introduction of more modern magazine rifles, so this ex-army officer designed the auto-loading magazine to allow the Martini to quickly cycle rounds. I chose this question because I already love the Martini and I love seeing interesting variants of the guns in the game, kind of like the Romero hatchet. Personally, I would love to see this added to the game, but it does present some balancing issues that I'm not sure can be rectified. Assuming Crytek based the magazine attachment on the one shown in the video, the Martini could quickly cycle 3 to 5 bullets and then have a lengthy reload. So, say they went with 4 because no other gun has that aside from the Derringer. You fire, cycle around every second, and then have a reload of, let's say, 5 seconds. The Martini is already a great rifle to keep long ammo going downrange, and this could be an extension of just that. But the problem is that 1, it would need to be pretty expensive to compensate for the increased speed, and 2, if it was just a more rapid firing long ammo rifle at cavalry length, then it would start to step on the toes of the Berthier. The Martini currently costs $122 and the Berthier costs $356. So maybe Crytek could add this variant in the middle range around $250 hunt dollars. And the Berthier could keep its unique ability of having 2 ammo types. I could see that working, but the Martini already has 3 variants, so I'm not really sure that this would be the highest priority. What this gun says to me though is that the community is eager for more weapons that are interesting beyond just being historic relics. And variants like this one are a great way to introduce those into the game, but I'm not sure that this is the one that is needed at the moment. The next question comes from Nasty Donut, who says, Home. A lot of people shun the game by calling it spam Showdown. What do you think of this criticism? Do you think Hunt is really too spam focused? Has the design philosophy changed since you started playing? And that is a really great question. I too have seen this criticism. While Hunt does have many weapons that are slow firing and clunky, there are just as many, it seems, that can be fired rapidly, either by design or with the help of traits like levering and fanning. So just off the top of my head, we have the Bornheim, the Dolch, all the repeating Winfield rifles with levering, all the single action pistols with fanning, and the officer pistol and its variants. That's a lot of guns, and that's not even all of them. So I understand people's frustration when they die to bullet spam. Just the other day, I got killed by fanning in one match and then levering in the next. But, in my opinion, the real problem is how long it takes Crytek to tune some of these things. The Dolch was just blatantly broken for a long time. It is finally in a spot where it is powerful but not perfect for every situation like it was before, and fanning and levering only recently saw nerfs to their crouch accuracy. And just as recently, there were nerfs to rapid firing. So I guess what I'm saying is that yes, there was a period where bullet spam was a reliable mechanic to lean on, but now it isn't quite as reliable and can be prevented if you think about your positioning. Those deaths I mentioned earlier, I was just kind of in a bad spot. Is the gunplay perfectly balanced? No. They just added the Slate and the new Army pistol, which are pretty strong in their own right, but I am confident that Crytek will act on the data eventually if more spam tactics prove to be effective. The real question for me is how long will it take? There is probably a larger discussion to be had about people's loss of patience with Crytek, but that's a different video. So, to answer your question, yes, spam was pretty common for a little bit, but it wasn't always the end-all tactic either. The next question comes from Lazy Datebase, who says, what do you think of the new quest system? I think it's pretty decent. With time, they can mold it into something great. So, if you aren't aware, with update 1.8.1, Crytek is introducing a new quest system called summons, which are meant to replace the weekly and daily challenges. What's cool about the quest system is you can track 2 at a time or a third if you pay 300 blood bonds, and you can see them in game when you pull up your map. To me, that is a great improvement over the old challenges, which, and this is not hyperbole, I have never tracked or attempted or cared about. So even the small excitement I feel about this is probably a good sign. The main criticism I've seen about this new quest system is that some of the quests require you to use certain DLC skins. I think this was a decision made to encourage people to spend more of their blood bonds on the game, but what it's being received as is an unfair advantage to people that are willing to pay. Do I personally have a dog in the fight? No, not really. You can just track the non-DLC quests of the 9 available options. And having a free and paid progression is just common in games now. I don't think Crytek wants to do a battle pass, but this is a good middle ground. The important thing to keep in mind is that Crytek has said from the beginning that they will tweak this system to meet community feedback. So really, my biggest problem is that there is no one on the test server to try the other cool things like the new AI variants, and that is probably a pretty good gauge of the community excitement for this feature. It's cool to have, but it's not really at the top of the list. But the 0.1 and 0.2 updates are usually small things like this anyway, so it's hard to be mad about that. So for me, the quests are a cool idea and an improvement on the old system, but also not super important to me at the moment. And finally, let's end with a fun one from Empyrean, who says, what is the best legendary skin in the game? I really like the Vagrant skin for the Winfield Suppressed. It's just one of those skins that feels truly artistically inspired and it fits the setting so well. But if we're talking about legendary hunters, I really like the Beast Hunter, and I've been using the red shirt pretty much every match recently. I'm surprised I don't see the Beast Hunter, but it is a lot of fun to kill a team while playing as red shirt. Anyway, that concludes this episode of At Home. What do you think about what we talked about? Do you want a Martini Swift? Is Hunt too spammy? Are you excited for the quest system? Do you have a favorite legendary skin? Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious what the community take is on these things. But until the next one, goodbye.